Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Now today I'm actually having a chat with a very good friend of mine I've known for many years, and he sat right with me, Philip Timm. Morning Philip, how are you doing?
Philip Butler-Timm. I got married, I've hyphenated.
Ah.
Yes indeed, so I'm now Butler-Timm.
Butler-Timm.
Hello.
That's from Emma's.
From Emma Butler, indeed.
Emma Butler.
So, yes.
That's where the Butler came. I did wonder where the Butler came from.
I sound very posh now.
Yeah, very posh.
But yes, hello, thank you for having me. It's nice to be here. Nice to be on the other side of the camera for a change.
So today we're not looking at any products, we're having a chat. Phil, as I said in the introduction, I've known Phil for a long time. Actually, you worked for me when I first started Billboard TV, going back, well, I started in 1985. I think you joined around about 89 because your brother actually, that's how we met, was through your brother.
Yes. I think he was an employee. There was a time at which you were doing weddings and then you transitioned into doing corporate stuff. And I do remember lugging around very heavy equipment and umbilical cords going off to my brother holding the camera at weddings and different events.
Yes, and that would have been late 80s.
Mid to late 80s, yeah. I would have been a fresh-faced teenager. Yes.
Yeah, there we go. And I weren't much older, really.
Not really. To me, you're an old man. You were a proper grown-up. I was a kid. You were a grown-up, but yeah.
And Bill was 10 years older than me, so he was
indeed.
Easily,
yeah, absolutely.
So that's how you got really involved in the industry. Was really through me, and I'm really proud to say that. And you actually stayed in the industry.
I've done all right. Yeah.
Not many people really do stay in the industry. They come and go.
Sure.
But I'm really excited that you did stay in it. We lost contact for several years, didn't we? So,
we did.
So bring me up to date very briefly from Billboard TV. Then you went off to, you got a job in Malaysia.
I did. I was as headhunted. I was with a couple of editing agencies in London, and a chap, an expat who was working in Malaysia, came back and he was moving on. So they asked him while he was back to line up a replacement, and for some reason my name came to the top of the list.
Now back then, mid-90s, early 90s, that still would have been analog recording. That wouldn't have been digital.
It was absolutely, yeah. So in Malaysia I was working primarily on 1-inch tape.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah. So this is. They were a few years behind the UK, and so we were still on the big reels that you'd have to lace up machines and lose your finger in because it would spin at a terrible rate. So yeah, there was a lot of that. There was also some. I suspect it was Digibeta by that point.
There would have been Digibeta.
Yeah, and Beta SP.
But still, effectively. Well, Digibeta is in inverted commas digital. It was still using tape.
It's still tape-based, absolutely. Yeah. 30-minute tapes.
Yeah.
Maximum.
And then obviously the editing was all tape-based.
Yeah, all tape-based. 3 machine, two players and a recorder going through a DVE and a vision mixer, old Grass Valley 100 probably, although that's an analog one. But
something along those lines.
Yeah, with the big handles that you blow up Death Stars with.
Yeah, now we were, I was working with Umatic and, high band Umatic and then Beta
high band, that's
but
right.
Very similar principle. We had controllers, and we've got a controller here that is a modern day controller. Now, this controller is for DaVinci Resolve, and they make bigger ones as well.
They do, I'll be getting one of those hopefully.
Phil, I bought this. You got me into using DaVinci.
I did.
We'll come on to DaVinci Resolve actually a bit later in this chat. But I got into editing with DaVinci Resolve because of Phil. I used to use Final Cut Pro. I still do use Final Cut Pro occasionally. But this device here is so reminiscent of the controllers from 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's not an accident. It's definitely modelled.
A physical jog dial, on the controller, and I think that is awesome. That's why I love it.
Yeah, if we can find a picture of a Sony RM440, I'm sure we could.
Yeah, I mean,
bring up a
wish I still had more. But I mean, neither of us have got our old kit.
Long gone. Back then, we were editing on stuff that cost hundreds of thousands, at least tens of thousands.
But this does introduce, though, a massive problem that I've faced, because I've remained in the industry. It produces a massive problem because somebody can come out of college, or even not out of college, they can go and buy this amazing laptop, DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro, or even one of the 3 programs, a cheap camera for under £1,000, and they can go out and advertise they're doing corporate work, weddings even, whatever, and undercut the professionals that have been in the industry for a long time. I'm sure as a professional you've come across this, because I mean I know now you work freelance and you've got a lot of clients and you're doing really well, but you've built up that client base, and that's why you're doing really well, because they know you and they carry on using you.
Yep.
But you must even get phone calls from either existing clients or new clients. Oh, so and so has said they can do, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a thing that has caused concern. I have lost at least one client I can think of. They said this: we can't afford you anymore, because their budgets had been shrinking because of whatever economic forces are put upon them, and we can't afford your rate anymore. We've got someone who can do it. You know, they're shooting stuff on their phone, and they say it's not as good as your stuff, but it'll do.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's the choice that they get to make.
Yeah, I've found exactly the same. The technology has really affected how you make money in this industry these days, doesn't it?
Indeed. It's the case that everyone now has access to these tools, which is great. It's democratizing it. It's not something that's reserved just for the elite, the rich. Anyone can do it, but it means that you have to search a little bit more. If you're looking for the quality, you have to look for the level of experience to back that up.
What I explain to people, well, not so much now because I've got regular clients and it's not a really big issue for me. And I'm moving more into, the YouTube and the podcasting area, because I'm old now and I just want to do it for fun more so than for making large sums of money.
Sure.
I've done that, but I find that although the technology replaces the technical aspect, what it can't do, the technology can't replace the eye and it can't replace the ear of a person that's filming it.
Yes.
So you and I have watched many videos, hundreds of videos probably, where the video quality is quite decent, even if it's shot on a mobile phone, but you can't hear a flipping thing what the person's saying. So you switch off.
Indeed.
And that does show total amateurism.
Yes.
And likewise, you'll be watching a video where you might be able to hear it, but the video is moving about and jumping and I've got pet hates as far as video editing is concerned.
Absolutely.
Jump cuts. I mean, it is common now for videos to have jump cuts.
Yeah.
And it really just hurts my eyes. I'm watching it, I'm thinking, can't they put a cutaway shot in there? Couldn't they covered that jump cut with a B-roll, C-roll, D-roll, whatever, but technology has improved the technical side of it. Like in here, now I always explain to, well, not always, many times explain to people what gear I'm using. People find it fascinating what I'm using. So I'm just going to go through what we use. Might bore you silly, but what we use. So the wide shot today is my Sony FX30. I've got the, what lens have I got on there? I've got the Sigma 18 to 50 f2.8. It's a constant f2.8 aperture on that lens. I've got that fitted to the Sony FX30. It is a cinema line camera from Sony, so that's picking up the wide shot. Then this shot here is my original Sony ZV-E10, not the Mark II, but the Mark I, the ZV-E10. And that one's got I think that's got the Viltrox 56mm lens fitted to it. Probably has. I think that's got the Viltrox 56mm lens fitted to it. This camera here, one of my favourite purchases of all time is the Sony A7 IV. That's a full frame camera, and I've got it set to full frame. Actually, I think I've got it set to APS-C mode. I have got it set to APS-C mode. And that's got, I'm not sure what lens, the Viltrox 56mm lens. No, it hasn't. It's got the Samyang 75mm lens fitted to it. The Samyang full frame 75mm lens. So the background could have been a bit creamier, but I've gone for APS-C just to give it a little bit more of a balance between these other two cameras, because they're both APS-C. And over the back there is my Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, which is picking up actually all the kit and everything. What I love about these modern cameras, they have tally lights on them, so you can actually see that it's recording. Phil, you have no idea how many times I've thought that the camera was rolled in, and it wasn't. But with these modern cameras, having that little red light on the top, it's such a simple thing, but so useful. The tally light is on my ZV-E10 Mark II. I can see that's running. Also on my, actually I can't see.
I can see the red light on the FX30.
I can see the tally light. The lights, I can't see it because the tally light's on that's running. And then there's no tally light on the A7 IV. So
fingers crossed that I'm being captured.
Fingers crossed on that one's being captured. So yeah, that's for gear. Now I'm going to ask Phil also what sort of gear he uses, because people are always interested, Phil, what gear do we use? So I'm going to talk about what camera gear briefly and what editing gear. I think we know what editing gear you use because
Indeed.
we briefly
Absolutely.
covered it. So let's talk about editing then. You've gone to DaVinci Resolve. I'm holding this because I can't show you. I could show you a cutaway of DaVinci Resolve, but I use DaVinci Resolve because this controller's ace. So you got me into that. Why do you use DaVinci? In a nutshell, why do you use DaVinci Resolve?
There are many reasons.
Oh, really?
The first best reason is that it's free. They give it to you for free, and with that you can do 90% of the stuff, if not more than 90%, that you can do with the version that you pay for. When you buy a bit of kit like this, or if you buy a camera, you get a license for the studio, which is fantastic. But even with the free version, you can do most things. You can deliver UHD resolution, so nearly 4K.
Oh, really? Right.
Without paying a penny. So that's fantastic. So it gives everybody access to that bit of software. It does require pretty decent computers or pretty recent Macs to be able to run it, but it's free. Secondly, the thing I love about it is the fact that it does everything in one box. You do your audio, you do your grading, you do your editing, you can do all the multicam stuff, you can master to a bunch of different, you can make it vertical for your socials. Yeah, it's so incredibly powerful.
So there's none of this having to use DaVinci Resolve and go out of that into
export it into
Adobe, what do they call it? Express, not Express, After Effects.
And
all these other things.
Do Fusion, do your graphics within that.
And then of course the audio, you would normally export that.
Ping it out to Pro Tools or Logic or whatever. It's all built in the Fairlight software, which is incredible. It's so good.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm evangelical. I'm having to kind of rein myself in because I love it so much. It's such a great bit of software.
Well, that's DaVinci Resolve for you then. Now, camera gear. Now, I'm predominantly Sony. Now, over the years, I've spent thousands and thousands on camera gear in the last 10 years, from Canon to this, that, and the other. I always come back to Sony, mainly because of the autofocus. And you would know, I've got really bad eyesight. I do photography and video, but I can't see. I mean, it's a bit of a bizarre fault, really. But I need cameras that I know the autofocus will work, because I work solo.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I do work with you on certain projects, obviously.
On occasion.
But generally speaking, when I'm doing my YouTube channel, I'm working solo.
Absolutely.
So I'm using Sony, and I've gone through the cameras that I'm using. What do you use, though, Phil?
I have been in the Panasonic ecosystem for a little while.
That's a good choice.
Well, I think my first Panasonic camera 10 years ago-ish, was actually a proper camcorder. It was, I think, it was the AF100 or AF101.
Oh my God, 101.
101.
The 100 and the 101 were identical.
I liked it very much.
Nice HD camcorder.
Yeah, micro four thirds mount. So that was, I bought some lenses for that. I got that second hand and bought a couple of lenses for it, which then meant that I was in the micro four thirds ecosystem. Right. But it started to show its age. I think it was only limited to HD.
And I sold you my GH5.
You did.
Or one of my GH5s.
Indeed.
You said, and you loved it to bits, didn't you?
Yeah,
so
I absolutely fell in love with it. Fantastic camera.
And I know I've just asked you, but I actually do know the answer. But you then loved it so much, you bought a GH6.
Yeah, bought a GH6. So I now run 2 cameras.
So you're a big fan of the Panasonic cameras.
Yep,
lenses
very happy there.
Massive wide range of lenses. Great value for money.
Yep, in-body image stabilization.
Of course.
All of that.
And the quality is superb.
Yep, can shoot open gate 5.7K. So you've got your portraits and your landscape.
None of these cameras can do that. None of these Sony ones can do that.
Go.
So now
everything has their own strengths.
Let's have a quick talk before we finish off AI. I don't want to get heavily involved in AI, Phil, because it's a very complicated subject and there's very mixed opinions. I'll quickly tell you my thought.
Go on.
I think it's very dangerous, certainly if you're a photographer. I think it's potentially will put lots of photographers out of business unless they adapt their business model to embrace AI. When you look at the likes of Lightroom and so many other programs, you can embrace AI by using the AI technology for enhancing your images.
Yes.
But AI is also, on the dangerous side, is taking away jobs that normally a corporate client would have booked a photographer to do, but don't need to now because they can use AI to create that image.
Absolutely.
So, what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's coming. it's here. It's here whether we like it or not, and it is very much an adapt or die situation.
Right.
I think.
So yeah.
I think it can. A lot of people say it's just a tool. It's not. It's it's not a big monster going to eat us all. It's a tool to be utilised to make your work easier and make your work hopefully better, and that's all well and good. And I have no qualms with the fact that you could take a shot and say, well, I've shot a close-up, but I need something a little bit wider, and having AI kind of generate a wider angle shot. Fine, I can see that being very helpful. My issue with it is where the models that these things are built on, they have been taught and trained using people's work that has been stolen. They've not paid for it, they've not licensed it. It's happening with imagery, it's happened with artists. A lot of manga, a lot of different styles of art has just been hoovered up by these learning engines, and with no compensation. So people, you can just type into whatever bit of software you have or use, make an image in the style of Studio Ghibli is a very common one at the moment. Take this photo and make it look like a Studio Ghibli thing, and you think, oh look, I look like a character in one of those films now. Fantastic, but you've built that using stolen works, and I have a real problem with that.
I completely agree. We'll talk about that in detail. I mean, it's such a fascinating subject, both positively but more negatively.
Potentially.
I think we need to talk about that on a separate video.
Well, all right.
So there we go, Phil. Fantastic meeting up with you today. Appreciate you coming into the studio.
Pleasure.
Really, really do. And let's carry on with this conversation. We'll do a part 2 at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
'Cause I think there's a lot. You've got so much tremendous experience in this industry. So, so fantastic to see you. So thanks very much, Phil. Well done.
Thank you, Bob. Pleasure, mate.
See you on the next one.
See you on the next
I'd
one.
like to, thank Phil. Well, I've just thanked Phil for this video stroke podcast. So thanks very much for watching this YouTube video. Please subscribe, like, and don't forget to share it. There may be other people who would find this video of great interest. So thanks very much indeed, and stay tuned for more podcasts coming to this channel. Thank you very much.